Hey everybody, it's Zach and I like movies, and today it's time for a review of the new Godzilla Kong movie, The New Empire. So yeah, I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the X, I hear. No, it's just Godzilla Kong, not Godzilla X Kong. I don't know, I guess the X is silent. Maybe solve for X, I don't know. So yeah, this is the follow-up to Godzilla vs. Kong, which was also previously directed by Adam Wingard, who's had a less than impressionable, less than a positive impression on me, I should say. Because, yeah, I liked The Guest. I enjoyed aspects of Your Next. His adaptation of Death Note was god-awful. So the fact that he managed to somehow win his way into making a Godzilla and a Godzilla King Kong movie twice is a big surprise for me. But honestly, I was sort of rooting. I was pretty rooting for this movie. I was in this movie's corner when everybody was sort of like naysaying it because our American Godzilla movies look so stupid next to Godzilla -1, which I think is a little unfair because really any follow-up. Any Godzilla movie following Godzilla -1, whether it be from Warner Brothers or from Toho, it would have felt like a letdown. It would have felt like a downgrade, no matter what they did. But I was still in this movie's corner because I just really liked I really wanted a dumb big kaiju movie, you know. Like you see the trailer, you see Godzilla, he's in his hot pink era, he looks fantastic, like 10 on 10 girl, and you have Kong who now has to like fight off against an even more another evil gorilla, and he has like a robot arm now, and like yes, I want my big stupid kaiju bar fight movie, and I think it's a good thing that we could have both our big serious Godzilla movie and our big silly kaiju monster mash at the same time in harmony, perfectly balanced, like all things should be. But I would really be more optimistic about that now if this movie wasn't so meh. That's kind of the main reaction. It's just meh. Pretty much like the last Godzilla Kong movie. Like I don't know if this is like a thing with like what the studio was asking for is asking to put in, or if this is like just something Adam Wingard hasn't managed to do, but they haven't really found a sweet spot of like what kind of tone they're going for. And I sort of laid that down on Wingard more than I think WB, unlike any of the studio, because Wingard, he really likes to try for these like weird tone shifts, and more often than not they don't work. Like when he's trying to set its tone of like that's like in The Guest, for example, when he's trying to do something that's like kind of tongue-in-cheek with how like, you know, serious it is, crossed with how like intentionally comedic it's trying to be, it mostly doesn't work. And you get kind of the same thing here, because what this movie ostensibly is trying to do is be a big silly monster movie, which yes, be the kind of Showa movie, be the kind of movie that the Showa era Godzillas tried to be. You know, it got real goofier with like the monsters and the kind of threats that's Godzilla faces. You could have and you could just get bananas with it. That's all fine, and I don't have a problem with the fact that Godzilla gets silly. I think the major problem with this movie is that it's not silly enough, because on top of like having our big monster, like our Hollow Earth missions, they still want us to care about these characters that really by now are just so disposable and just like, I don't want to say unnecessary. I think you do need at least some human beings in these movies, just kind of like give us a sense of like where the world is now, which I'm surprised there even is a world anymore after there's been so much collateral damage. Like, good lord, like this movie, I think it was Godzilla King of All Monsters, the second movie in the MonsterVerse, where they just like completely obliterated Chicago, like Boston, like 3 times over in one fight. It was pretty ridiculous. But that's not. But again, that'd be fine. But it's really it's really because we spend so much time with these human characters, and the tone of the movie really wants to have its cake and eat it too with these characters, because it is giving us the same drama with like our lead scientist lady played by Rebecca Hall, and her adopted daughter. What was his name? What was her name? Iwa, who's like she's like adopted from like, and she's like the last remnant of this like lost culture. And then you have like these other like side characters that's like, oh, they're the comic relief. They have Brian Tyree Henry again as like a conspiracy theorist kaiju podcaster. And then you have Dan Stevens playing a guy named Trapper, and he is kind of really the energy the movie ought to have been fully leaned into, because he has this kind of like cool surfer bro energy, but instead of surfing the waves, it's about doing big monster stuff, and he's kind of, as I said, he's an embodiment of what this movie is trying to do, but it also, again, it doesn't lean far enough into that vibe. It doesn't do more with like how big and with how like it should. It's not broad enough. And also like, man, it feels like such a waste of like overly qualified actors. Like, hey, no disrespect to Rebecca Hall or Brian Tyree Henry. I'm glad they're getting that studio money, but man, like, it's a real testament to how talented Rebecca Hall is that she managed to make this absolute stock character that probably should have been played by an actress known more for TV, like, I don't know, like Morena Baccarin, I think, to make her feel like something resembling a human being with emotions, because sometimes she would like just stop dead. She would just stop dead, look straight in the camera, and just deliver a bunch of like rambling exposition that makes you go, yeah, okay, all right, I guess I'll have to roll with this. And man, Brian Tyree Henry, he's so talented as an actor, but he feels way more like just not needed here. We don't need to bring him back. It's fine if you just like have new characters. Again, I liked that we had Dan Stevens because he was delivering all the kind of cool dumb cool energy that the movie needed. But again, how is that whole big dumb kaiju fun? It's there, but also it's not there enough. Like, you have Godzilla, who's really like a side character in this movie. This is a con movie, first and foremost, that you should know, which not really a problem. But Godzilla is mostly just kind of here. He's like in the weeds, just kind of like coming back and like coming in and like wrecking, beating up a bunch of other kaiju to like for reasons that I'm not sure they ever got into. But the plot doesn't matter, but also it wants us to care about the plot because because like a lot of it deals with like the emotional. The stuff with the humans, and it deals with the emotional crux of like Rebecca Hall and her adopted daughter, and they go into Hollow Earth, and they're finding like the ancient civilization in Hollow Earth that the daughter is from, and they do take the time to make us try to make us care about it, but it doesn't land because it's also trying to like pendulum back to that big dumb show 'em energy. It's trying so hard to do both, and it really should have just been one or the other. So it winds like the first half of this movie feels like it wants us to take seriously what it also asks to not take seriously. And that's really, really annoying. And it's well, it's not annoying. It's frustrating. It makes the movie feel like it doesn't know what it wants to do when it should have. And like even when it does finally get into like when Godzilla is like fully in the swing of things, and he and Kong like come in and they just like they're like teaming up like these two kaiju, and they have their their WWE wrestlemania event. It feels almost too little too late. And yeah, there is like, it's big, it's silly, it's loud, and it's colorful too, which I like, I guess. But it has, yeah, it's too little too late. There's not and the way that all these like big effects are framed in each shot, they feel like just a little too close. Like I want to appreciate the scale and the majesty of these big things, but they feel too light, too lighty. They feel like I'm not asking for like these big, for like the big heavy booms that was present in like -1 or Gareth Edwards' Godzilla movie, but there is a sweet spot that you can have like these big thunderous monsters have presence and also like kind of give them a sense of agility or something. And I don't think I don't think this movie really found that sweet spot. It felt like, again, I felt like it was jockeying for one way when it should have gone the other. Zigged when it should have zagged. And yeah, that's and to kind of highlight my point about what I mean about the tone, it's trying again when it wants to try to like inform us that okay, this is fun, like ooh man, like when it tries to inform us that this is cool, this is dumb, this is fun, it just kind of lands with a slopping thud. Like there's comedic bits with like Brian Tyree Henry and Dan Stevens, and they're just they just don't work at all. And and that like they have this they have like this funny like, oh, they're reacting to like someone dying horribly to like some freaky Hollow Earth thing, and the way they play it off, it felt akin to like a Taika Waititi gag in one of the Thors, but like a bad gag. I don't even hate Taika Waititi like a lot of the rest of the unit it does, but like when it's off, it's like really off, and it does not work. And man, I feel like it really should have just gone bigger. It should have gone sillier. And again, you see parts of where this movie could have gone, but to really highlight my point, it's that there was a golden opportunity in the climax, which I don't want to give away. Well, it doesn't really matter if I give it away. Like gravity gets weird, so you have like these big monsters floating around as if we were on the moon, and it does. And like they had the perfect opportunity, the golden moment for Godzilla to perform his ultimate move, which is his physics-defying flying jump kick, and then he does a fist bump, a little victory fist bump, and they didn't do it. They didn't take it, and that really tells me everything how I feel about this movie, because you see the potential that it has in the fun, in the spectacle, and it really half steps it. It's just not enough. It's there, but we needed more. And that's kind of what I'm going to remember this movie more for, what it didn't have than what it does. And frankly, I think that's the biggest sin against both this and the last Godzilla and Godzilla versus Kong is that it's not really forgettable. It's not really memorable. You know, like, did you know that the last movie had Mechagodzilla in it? I totally forgot about that until this movie reminded me of that. And I'm like, oh yeah, it did. Why did I forget that? Why did that movie have Mechagodzilla feel forgettable? Like, come on. So yeah, I really wanted to like this more, but I'm kind of not gonna remember it. And if you did enjoy that, hey, all power to you. I do not want to stop anybody from having big dumb fun. All I'm saying, for me personally, I wanted this movie to be big, to be like good fun that sticks with you, like the first Mummy movie, not disposable fun, like the third Mummy movie. But hey, you know that's Godzilla for you. Sometimes you get ones that like really stick. Sometimes, and there's a lot of movies in this franchise. Not all of them are good. Not all of them are memorable. But yeah, this one I won't remember this. To be frank, I think I'm feeling like a strong 3 to a light 4. This was a bit of a disappointment. But what did you think of Godzilla X Kong? Did you want the man? Like there wasn't even enough Godzilla and Kong stuff. Like it went on a high note, but I feel like if you really wanted to lean into it being a big dumb silly movie, Godzilla and King Kong, unironically, should have had the Predator handshake, and then they smashed to black. Like, man. What a waste. What a missed opportunity. But anyway, that's just me. What did you think of Godzilla X Kong? Did you have fun? But hey, I got more movies to watch. They'll probably be more fun. I'll probably remember them more. Hey, I still got a bunch of Showa era Godzilla movies to watch in that one. It's a lot of silly in that. So yeah, I'll be watching movies, and I hope you do too. And I will see you later.